All right, top 25.
Top. Doyce is top 25.
Yeah, you forgot to
I
do that
forgot the
last
last
week.
couple. I know, dude. I'm on it.
So falling out of the top 25, we'll start with them. Cincinnati falls out of the top 25. They were
Yeah.
19 after losing to UCF.
It was bad too. That was not good.
No, I mean, it was a close game. It was a well fought game, but, Cincinnati's kind of been teetering on the edge for a little bit now.
Mm-hmm.
Kentucky falls out of the top 25. They were at 18.
Okay, now
I
that was bad.
I think they're still one of the 25 best teams, but I'm not ready to have a 3-loss team in the top 25 yet.
Too soon.
A couple more weeks. Because that is a good team. They got destroyed by Tennessee, but Tennessee's showing that they are the real deal.
Yeah. We'll get a little bit more into that.
Yeah. So at 25, those are the only two teams falling out. So at
Okay.
25, I've got Oregon State, who did not play last week, but I think they're deserving. I think the AP even had them at number 25. UCF, I've got at 24 coming into the rankings. So those are the two that are replacing Cincinnati and Kentucky.
They had those switched actually.
Yeah. Yeah. I value Oregon State ahead of UCF. Oregon State, their two losses, I think, were USC and I can't remember who their other loss to, but they play Washington this week, which should be a pretty good game. At 23, I've got Liberty, who I saw the AP was a little bit later than me, but got them in this week. Syracuse is at 22. They fall from 13. Oklahoma State is at 21. I dropped them from 9 all the way down to 21 because they absolutely got hammered. Not drunk, but hammered with an actual hammer on the football field.
Yes. Yeah, not good.
Tulane, I've got at number 20. I've got Wake Forest falls from 10 to 19 after they got beat
Pretty bad.
by. So it's not as bad as the score in some ways, but in some ways it's worse than the score. I don't know if you watched any of this game.
I didn't catch any of that one really.
So it was 14-13 going into halftime with Wake Forest in the lead. Wake Forest had 9 drives or 9 possessions in the second half. 8 of them ended with a turnover.
That's not
8.
good. That is not
8.
good.
8
Yeah.
of the 9. The other one was a touchdown. There were 6. They turned the ball over 6 times in the third quarter alone.
That's insane. That
I've
is not
never
a
seen anything like
recipe.
it.
Not a recipe to win football games.
And like they had 5, I think they had 5 turnovers the entire season coming into this week, and they had 8 in that game in that second half and 6 in the third quarter. Just
That's bad.
ridiculous. It was very
So it just ended.
fluky in a
It was
sense.
just a bad game.
Yeah,
They
they
just had a bad game.
had a very bad game, and it just kind of
Right.
snowballed on them. That's why I didn't like drop them all the way out, because that type of score line for a team like Wake Forest, their second loss against a team like Louisville that's not that great, that's recipe to get dropped all the way out. But the nature of the game, I kept them at 19. Maryland goes from 22 to 18. They didn't play, but other teams dropped.
It happens.
Penn State, I dropped to 17. They played Ohio State really well. They
For a
didn't do
while.
anything to hurt themselves up until the second half of the fourth quarter, when things got a little sideways for them with some turnovers
True.
and stuff. Like they had a real shot to win that game.
Yeah, they held their own for the majority of the game.
Yeah, 3.5 quarters they were leading for the most part. Kansas State goes from 23 up to 16. You could argue they maybe should be a little higher after what they did to Oklahoma State, but they still do have 2 losses. And one of those losses was a bad one against who was it? Was it Tulsa, or I don't remember who it was they lost to, but
Tulane.
Oh, did they lose? Okay, so I guess that loss is not as bad as I remember then.
Yeah, Tulane and TCU.
Yeah, and they had the big lead against TCU, and they were down to their
Mm.
third string quarterback when TCU came back on them. So I guess it's a
Right.
little more defensible to have 2 losses in their
Yeah,
situation.
that makes sense as to why they got him a little higher. They got him at 13.
Yeah, which I mean, 13, 16, I'm not going to quibble.
Right.
LSU, I've got at 15, going up from 17. Illinois is being a fast riser right now. I've got them up at 14. They were at 21 for me last week. They just keep winning. They're going to win the West, and they're
Right.
going to be in the Big Ten title game. And if they win that, they're in the playoff. I mean,
Yeah,
realistically.
it's in their hands. It's all their destiny is in their hands.
Yep. Similar boat, UNC. I've got up at 13. Again, 7-1. Everything to play for. It's all in their hands. They beat Clemson in the ACC title game. They might be in the playoff. That
Yeah.
was not guaranteed. Illinois win if they win the Big Ten, they're in the playoff. UNC, they win the ACC, they might be in the playoff. They'll be in the
I can
conversation at
kind of
least.
I can dig that. I feel you.
So number 12, I've got UCLA. They were at 16 before. Another pretty easy win for them. Ole Miss, I've got moving up from 15 to 11. They beat Texas A&M, which just continues to slide.
Yeah. Oh man. We
It's getting bad, man. It's getting bad. They had to suspend some
Yeah.
players, and like
Right.
it's not a good situation at A&M right now.
Nope. Sorry, Aggies.
USC goes from 12 to 10. They won. They didn't look necessarily that great against Arizona State, but they did win. So got to give them credit there.
Right.
Utah is my top ranked 2-loss team. I still have them 1 spot ahead of USC because they did beat
Okay.
USC. And
Fair.
I flirted with moving USC above them because Utah struggled this past week against a not very good Stanford team. So I flirted with having USC, maybe even Ole Miss jumping them, but I kept them ahead of those teams at 9. And then I've got no change whatsoever in my top 8. So it's Oregon at 8, it's Alabama at 7, it's TCU at 6, Clemson at 5, Michigan at 4, Tennessee 3, Georgia 2, and Ohio State number 1.
So I've never really seen this before, but I guess apparently they can have ties in the AP.
They can, yeah.
They have Ohio State and Tennessee tied at 2.
Yep.
And Georgia 1 because they're
Yeah.
smart.
I think you can order the top 4 any direction, and I'm okay with it.
And I don't know if I would put Michigan in 1. They could maybe move up to 2, but
maybe. Like, I'm not going to necessarily argue with you. Michigan's looked really, really good. Now they kind of struggled with Michigan State, but that is a rivalry game. So
yeah, you never know what's going to happen there.
right.
That's why I was a little nervous with Georgia that when it got down 28-20 after we were up pretty big, and I was like, all right, I guess I do need to watch a little bit of this,
especially after it was a 28-3.
Especially after it was 28-3.
Right. Right. That is a infamous number in Georgia sports.
Yes. And they started coming back, and I was like, no.
This is not happening. Stop.
I started at because I'll be honest, when they went up 28-3, I was watching other games because I mean
I was too. I had them on for a bit, turned it off, put other games on, saw that Florida came back, and I'm like, oh, guess I'm putting that back on the screen now, aren't I?
Yep. So did I. But then they took care of business. Which, dude, did you see
the
that
Brock
catch?
Bowers?
Yes.
Yeah.
The like juggling. That was badass.
Yeah, that was awesome.
I mean, we've said it already before. He's going to be great. He's going to be an NFL tight end.
He could be an NFL tight end right now.
Yeah. I do think he might need to bulk up a little bit more. He's going to have to hit the weight room a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, he's still young. He's like, what, 19?
Oh, yeah, he's super young. So
he was a true freshman last year.
Yeah, and plus, when you get to the NFL, they've got the guys to help you with that.
Oh, yeah. Georgia does too. He just needs a little more time.
Well, true. Yeah, he's just young. You're right. He's just young. But no, they took care of business like they needed to. Um, Tennessee took care of business like they needed
Tennessee
to.
looks really good. Tennessee looks
They
really
did,
good.
dude. Hendon Hooker is looking like the real deal. It looks like he's maybe jumping a lot of people's boards right now. Because
I
I'll
might
be
like if
honest,
I'm an NFL team, he might be the one that I want the most.
I mean, like I said, he's
Just being
jumping a lot of
honest.
boards. Yeah, 19 to 25, 245 yards and 3 touchdowns. And then you add 10 rushes for 23 yards and a touchdown.
And the poise, the composure, just like I love Hendon Hooker. I think he's really good. I think he's going to be an NFL quarterback, and
I do
I
too.
think he could be a good one. Now he's a little older,
Yep.
but I don't really worry about that with quarterbacks. I mean, even
That's
he's
actually a
25.
good thing.
Yeah, like he's 25. You draft him. If he's good, you've got your quarterback for the next 12 years.
Yeah, and when they're older, they're going to be smarter. They're going to not necessarily, but they're going to be more
Be more
mature. They're
mature.
going to be able to. They're going to know that they're going to have to dive into that playbook to be able to get that job quicker,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to be ready to start sooner. And so, not only that, but he's got a great football name. I mean,
Right.
Hendon Hooker. I mean,
He's
that's
he's
awesome.
he's been through some adversity. You know, he started at I don't even know if you know this, but he started at Virginia Tech and couldn't get the job, or
Hokies.
he had the job for like half a season, I think, and ended up having to transfer. So he transferred into Tennessee when Jeremy Pruitt was still the head coach of Tennessee. Well, Jeremy Pruitt gets fired like a month later or something. And in comes Josh Heupel, and he's Hendon Hooker's about to like maybe transfer again or put himself back into the portal. And Heupel says, "No, just stick around." And so
Give us a shot.
he sticks around, and then he actually loses or Josh Heupel brings in another quarterback out of the transfer portal that he actually brought in. So that guy was going to be the starter last year. And then like the second game or whatever, Hendon Hooker has to come in. I don't remember if it was because of injury or bad play, and he just never looked back. And he just got better and better and better and better every week, to the point now where like he might be the Heisman winner this year. Legitimately might be the Heisman
He's
winner.
he, he's definitely making a case for it, man. He looks really good, and I mean, I guess you could say he volunteered to stay, and
Yeah.
oh man,
I
no, they
love the
look
jokes.
really
Keep it
good.
coming.
Obviously, we got a huge matchup this weekend.
Yeah.
Tennessee,
Tennessee,
Georgia.
Georgia.
First time in history that they've both been top 5 ranked, not let alone 1-2. Um,
Really?
yeah.
I did not
So,
know that.
well, when
When playing, yeah.
playing each other, it's the first time having a top 5 ranked matchup. Yeah. But yeah, so that's gonna be huge. That's gonna be a lot of fun. So
I'm looking
there's
forward to it,
that.
man.
We got that, and then we got LSU Alabama this
That should be
weekend.
fun. LSU's looked really
Who's
good.
Ohio State play?
Uh, I don't think they have a big matchup.
Northwestern, who's
Oh, yeah.
1-7. Yep,
No,
that one's
that's going to be a 45-point game.
boring. Yep.
Um,
Oh, Wake Forest and NC State is our only other ranked matchup,
eh,
which that could be a hell of a game, honestly.
maybe. I don't know. NC State doesn't have their quarterback anymore.
Oh, okay, that's right. I forgot
Yeah,
about that.
Devin Leary's out for the year, so you know, who knows?